Continue with our rolling coverage of the unrest gripping several parts of the country at this hour. Angry demonstrations, also purported to be over the jailing of former President Jacob Zuma, have seen sporadic violence in some parts of Johannesburg. In Melville, Denver and Jeppes, protesters torching cars and looting shops, while social media messages warned of a planned shutdown in the East Rand from today. Meanwhile, Ekurhuleni Acting Executive Mayor spokesperson has also tried to weigh in on the situation. In fact, let's bring in Lisiba Mpia. He speaks for the mayor of Ekurhuleni and joins us now via our video link. And Lisiba, of course, the real concern now is what happens next. You must have seen some of the social media messages. What can you tell us about what's actually happening in Ekurhuleni as of this morning?
Good morning, and good morning to your viewers. It's Phakamile Mbengashe here. Let me just give you an update on what's happening. So yesterday, it was Sunday, we had a meeting with our chief of police and EMPD officials to just drop a plan on how we're going to respond to the protests should they come to the city. It was quite fruitful. The acting mayor made the decision to initiate what we call Operation Kurula. It's been rolling through the city for quite some time. It's just in terms of cleaning up criminality in the city. So what happened was there was increased visibility across the city of police officers in commercial zones in some of our usual hotspots. As of now, there were flare-ups in Tembisa, in Vosloorus and Katlehong. And as we speak now, there have been 48 arrests that have been made.
Sure. What does the plan look like for the day ahead, specifically for Ekurhuleni?
Well, we're continuing with Operation Kurula. That means increased police visibility. As EMPD, we don't have our own structured intelligence unit, but we do communicate with our councillors, with people in communities, just to get the word on the ground of who these instigators are, who's causing the trouble. And hopefully we can have control over the situation and it doesn't get out of hand.
Yeah, and that's obviously the big worry at the moment. Many people who are watching from Ekurhuleni will have their own concerns. I mean, are you able to gauge from your vantage point how many residents of Ekurhuleni may even take part in this kind of unrest?
Look, I have to be honest. I mean, it's quite a big pot of different issues. There's socio-economic issues, there's the unemployment issue, and then there's criminality. So, you know, it's quite volatile. And in such situations, that's why we had to be proactive and say, we released a statement yesterday saying that, you know what, lawlessness will not be tolerated in the city. Our police force is out and they are prepared. And this means that there's going to be 24-hour policing in communities. We know where some of the hotspots are. We've learned a lot of lessons from the 2019 xenophobic riots or uprising, where we found out that things usually happen in certain areas. So we're using those lessons now and hoping that we can keep control of the situation.
The strategy, perhaps according to some people, should entail some kind of collaboration. You'll agree with me that if this unrest is able to get to surrounding communities in Ekurhuleni, it's much harder to keep it out of Ekurhuleni. How much of that is taking place, this, call it, interconnectedness between communities to try and ensure that you stave off the unrest as far as possible?
Like I said, we are in our meetings, we do speak to councillors. Those are people that are entrenched in the communities, and they can give us some information. Over and above that, I did have a conversation with officials in the office of the Premier, just to talk about how we're going to collaborate with the provincial government and see how we can work together, share information, share intel on how things are happening. Because you're absolutely right, is that we need a coordinated effort for Gauteng as an entire province. Because, you know, troublemakers, they can move from Ekurhuleni and jump into Joburg. It's not that far away. I mean, and then it can move over to Tshwane. So what the plan is to try and isolate incidents as quickly as possible. It is a cat and mouse chase. There's a lot of guerrilla tactics happening, but we're using the intelligence we have and we're trying to stop it as quickly as possible.
Phakamile Mbengashe, thanks very much indeed for making time to chat to us. Really appreciate your speaking to us at the moment. He's the spokesperson for the Executive Mayor of Ekurhuleni.